how often does a sewage treatment plant need emptying?
Okay, very similar to the last question. So with emptying of a treatment plant, again, the frequency is kind of indicated by the manufacturer initially. So certainly on a domestic level, so for like a single dwelling, most manufacturers would size the systems in accordance with getting the system emptied once per year. And generally, most people should be doing that anyway, just to ensure that you've got a good biological process in the tank. When you empty a wastewater treatment plant, it's generally quite good practice to leave some of the activated sludge in the base of the tank, so you don't fully empty it, so you can get a continued working performance from the bacteria in the tank. Ensure always got very good quality of effluent. In addition to that, you generally want to consider, I suppose, the number of people feeding it, which is, and of course the size. So most wastewater treatment systems are generally sized in terms of maximum potential number of people you can have in the property, which is most of the time oversized based on the number of people feeding it. So you may get a little bit of a buffer in terms of how much longer you would have. So if they say a year, you may be able to get a little bit more than that if you've got low loading. You then also need to consider if the homeowner is feeding the system, so you can introduce a feed for the bacteria to improve the performance, or a kickstarter to get it working more quickly. And there are also other products on the market called which reduce the amount of sludge in the tank, which again, if you're using a reducer, that means you're going to have to get it emptied less often. Reducers are generally quite good because they retain like a static level of sludge in the tank, which is generally around about 40 to 60%. And to really get optimal treatment performance in terms of from the bacteria, that's kind of where you want it to be. That's when you get very good quality of effluent. So something else to consider if you are going to be using feeders reducers to improve performance, that will of course have an influence in terms of the frequency of how often you get it emptied. But generally, on a domestic level, try to stick with a year. On commercial level, it will be more frequent. Again, the manufacturer will give you a guideline based on the sludge storage volume for the tank, but it could be that it's anything from 2 to 4 times a year. Again, very dependent on the application, the sources of waste coming into the tank, and how much waste is entering versus the sludge storage chamber.
Perfect. That answers that one. Thank you, David.